Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Strange Stories. I'm Roger Hanson, and I am here to bring you yet another strange story. I've been focusing on Japan and going through some of the stuff there that's going on. This week, or last week, I was talking to you about the Kappa and all the strange stuff there with that. Now I'm going to move on to the Kayataki Tunnel, which is in Kyoto, Japan. Now, I was getting ready to get into the reading and everything before I realized that I didn't actually start the episode. So now is where I just go ahead and start the episode and get on with the reading. Hope you guys enjoy. Now, the Kayataki Tunnel in Kyoto is rumored to be haunted by laborers who died during its construction. During its construction, drivers report ghostly apparitions, unexplained mechanical failures, and an oppressive sense of dread. Now that is something too that I do want to mention, and not too many people talk about that. But in Japan, that's the one thing that's most that's really the scariest when it comes to Japan. It's they get this really bad feeling of dread that comes over them. And that's really something right there that I believe needs to actually be talked about too. So I just realized that that's going to end up changing on me the moment I switch from this scene to another, or from this browser tab to another. So I'm going to switch that to a picture and do that instead of doing what I have on there. So I'm going to go ahead and start that up with what I was going to do before previously, because I thought that I could do that, and I wasn't thinking it through. But let me go ahead and get on with it. Now, what I was saying was there's a lot of stories that are connected with this feeling of dread that comes over people who are being haunted in Japan. There's actually a lot of dark stories, a lot of dark movies about that, about the hungry ghosts and stuff of that nature. And from what I've been finding out, there's a lot more than just the hungry ghost. It's there's a whole bunch of spiritual entities that the Japanese believe in, and this goes back thousands of years, and I find that pretty interesting. It's actually weaved its way into its culture through plays and films and art and all of this, you know what I mean? And I've said it before, I think that there's like this underlying sense of guilt with the Japanese society, or their society, because of the things that they believed in, and they've had a hard time overcoming, and things of that nature. From what I've been reading, at least. That doesn't mean the Japanese are bad people. I'm just saying that it does happen. Like when you take a look at what we've been going through already, like the suicide forest. These people are voluntarily going to this forest to commit suicide. This is a really, really deep psychological issue that they're having. So I just find it really, really odd, and it really is an interesting part of the world when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and continue reading now. Now, Kyoto's rich culture and history has a tapestry of ghostly legends and eerie tales woven into it. As the sun rises over the city's ancient landscape, the air is thick with stories of the supernatural. This guide takes the most adventurous thrill seekers in a spine-tingling journey through some of Kyoto's most haunted locations, including the infamous Kyoto Tunnel and the mystical temples of eastern Kyoto. Explore the dark mysteries of this beautiful city where your next supernatural adventure may be awaiting. Start your day like the peaceful beginning of a horror film, with a scenic train ride to Arashiyama, a picturesque district on the outskirts of Kyoto. The journey offers stunning views of the countryside with a lush greenery and serene riverside setting, the tone for an adventurous day. The area is famous for the breathtaking lush Arashiyama bamboo forest and the historic Tenryuji Temple, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. For the first haunting attraction of the day, delve into the chilling history of Kyoto Tunnel, said to be one of Japan's most haunted sites. Constructed in the early 20th century, the tunnel is 444 meters long and is tied to several deaths, including construction workers who died of harsh working conditions, freak railway accidents, and executions. Several people have reported a ghost woman in white who appears at the tunnel's entrance, beckoning the curious to enter, only to disappear into the mist. Rumor has it that the woman leaped to her death from the road above the tunnel entrance. After a spine-chilling morning, indulge in a delicious Japanese meal at the traditional restaurant of Arashiyama. Consider dining at a place known for its local specialties, such as yadofu, tofu hot pot, or seasonal kaseki, showcasing the flavors of Kyoto. That was an advertisement if I've ever heard one. Okay, now after fueling up, head to Cheonan Temple, one of Kyoto's most important Buddhist temples, and home to a bell with a spooky backstory. The giant bell is said to be associated with a tormented spirit who was wronged in life. Legend has it that the spirit was so pained by its circumstances that it transformed into a vengeful entity, seeking solace through the bell's toll. Visitors have reported feeling a sense of unease in the vicinity of the bell. Your next step is Kadaiji Temple, known for its serene beauty and its eerie well. This temple, with its stunning gardens and zen-like atmosphere, contrasts sharply to the legend of the vengeful spirit said to dwell in the well. According to local folklore, the well is the resting place of a heartbroken woman who tragically perished. Visitors claim to hear faint whispers when standing near the well, and some even report feeling a cold breeze that brushes past them, as if the spirit is still lingering, waiting for closure. Walking through Gyeon, at dusk, as dusk falls, take a leisurely stroll through the Kyosho's historic geisha district. The streets are lined with wooden machaya houses. This soft glow of lanterns creates a hauntingly beautiful backdrop. You might even hear the faint footsteps of a geisha from the past. Your final destination is Rakudo Chinaji Temple, a site believed to be a gateway to the underworld. The temple's name is derived from the six paths of reincarnation in Buddhism, symbolizing the cycle of life and death. Each path represents a different realm, ranging from heavenly beings to hellish demons. Visitors are often captivated by the temple's serene ambience. Yet the underlying theme of the afterlife lends an unsettling charm to this sacred space. At Rakudo Kanoji, you'll find another well, which is said to connect the realm of the living with the dead. Local legends abound regarding encounters with demons and spirits at this well. Some visitors recount chilling experiences where they felt a presence watching them, or even caught a glimpse of a shadowy figure out of the corner of their eye. From the chilling Kayataki Tunnel to the serene yet eerie wells of Karaji and Rakudo Chinoji, Kyoto offers beautiful sights with a hint of the unknown. Visit this captivating location and immerse yourself in the eerie atmosphere. Remember to be respectful and mindful, though particularly at religious sites. So that was the article that I wanted to read to you, and it's the travel guide for Kanoji Tunnel. Now, I went and I checked this out, and there really isn't all that much about it. There's a lot more hype than information when it comes to this haunted tunnel. Just to let you know, there is a lot of spooky stories when it comes to the temple and everything, all of it included, but the tunnel itself has very little information. and that's kind of what I've had to experience with a lot of the situations when it comes to with dealing with Japan. There's a lot of places that are supposed to be haunted, but they're not. And then there are places that are haunted, but they really don't have anything that really stands out too much to you. Now, there's little bitty ones that I noticed on here that kind of stuck out, like the vengeful spirit, and I've covered that in some of the past episodes about the different kinds of spirits and the vengeful ones. This is why I really do want to dive into the hungry spirit and go over that, because there's a lot of good stuff there that I do believe that that would be fascinating to cover. It's like I said, a lot of people don't realize what they're talking about when they say they want to be Buddhist, or they're just like part-time Buddhists because they don't practice what they preach, you know what I mean? Because like if you're a Buddhist and you have addictions, okay, you smoke dope and you get drunk all the time and you're belligerent, you're treating your family bad, all of that, if you're a Buddhist, comes back to haunt you in the afterlife. Now, I don't know how true Buddhism is, and it's not, but I do know it's very disciplined, And my beliefs don't particularly say, that you go to a Buddhist heaven if you're a Christian, or you go to a Christian heaven if you're Buddhist. I personally believe that in life we we're building what's to come in our life. You know what I'm saying? And we also we create our life today. Like if we're having a bad life, that's usually because we created it. And the same goes for death. While we're alive right now, we are actually creating the heaven or the hell that we're supposed to be going to, because we're manifesting it. That's how I personally feel about it. So these beliefs and what they're connected to, I think people really need to stop and take a look at that. If you're calling yourself a Buddhist and you're practicing these things, you really do need to stop and take a look at what it is you're doing it. I've known people who are Buddhists who are so big on, I can't say a cuss word, and I can't do this, and I gotta act appropriate, but then they'll go and they'll smoke dope and get drunk and get high, you know what I mean? And they don't understand that that's all a part of the freaking Hungry Ghost too. In the end, you're going to end up a spirit, according to your own religion, you're going to end up a spirit with just nothing but a hunger for dope. And for me personally, I like I said, if I said it before, if you don't want that kind of hell, if you don't want to create that kind of hell for yourself, then you might want to rethink being a Buddhist. It's just like being a Christian. A lot of the beliefs that you have as a Christian, if you're not willing to go according to those texts and the discipline that goes with it, then you're going to create that hell that's within that text, because that's what you believe in, so just kind of tread lightly, because that stuff is real. This stuff is real. I mean, it will come back to get you, so just that's my take on it. So I could be wrong, but I really doubt that I am, to be honest with you. I really do doubt that I am. Now, I did want to go over some things that I did pull up. I've been having an issue on where I wanted to read this stuff off, and it has to do with a lot of this that I wasn't really able to get into before, but I think I will now. This has a little bit to do with the hungry spirits, and has to do with samsara. So I'm gonna go over a couple of things. Now, I was kind of drawn or between talking about Anika or Shimbutsu Shagu first. Now, I could, I guess I could talk about the syncretic thing about it, and go from there. Now, Shimbutsu Shugo is often translated as the amalgamation of Kami and Buddha. It represents one of the most fascinating and complex aspects of Japanese religious history. The syncretic tradition, which blended Shinto and Buddhism, shaped the spiritual landscape of Japan for over a millennium. Shimbutsu Shugo reflects the adaptive and integrative nature of Japanese culture, where two distinct religious systems merge to form a harmonious spiritual practice. Now, I do want to also mention earlier, I said that they merged together without any kind of frustration, but there was issues when it came to that, so I wanted to clear that up. I went back over it, and wanted to make sure I cleared that up. But they did merge together relatively good. So, Buddhism arrived in Japan from Korea and China during the 6th century CE. Initially met with resistance, it gradually gained acceptance due to its association with advanced knowledge, art, and political legitimacy. As Buddhism established itself, it encountered Shinto, Japan's indigenous religious traditions centered on kami, and that's spiritual entities or deities. Now, Shinto was, which lacked a codified theology or scriptures, was rooted in the veneration of nature, spirits and ancestors. Ritual purity and harmony with the natural world were central tenets. Unlike Buddhism, which offered a sophisticated cosmology and doctrine, like karma and reincarnation, Shinto was more practical and ritualistic. Rather than competing, Shinto and Buddhism began to influence one another. This syncretism was not enforced but emerged organically as Japanese rulers and religious leaders sought to harmonize these systems. By the Nara period, which is between 710 and 794, the two traditions were deeply intertwined. Now, I do also want to mention too that Shinto is still worshipped in Japan. Sometimes, if you're lucky, if you're over there, you'll see like people going out into the woods or the boundaries of the woods, and they'll sacrifice like chickens and stuff. And that's the reason why they're doing it, is they're worshiping Shinto deities. So I found that pretty interesting when I did my research, because a lot of people don't realize that. They think that like Japanese and the Koreans and all of the Chinese are all, atheist and all that stuff, and it's not true. A lot of them still do that, and I don't care what anybody says. I still believe that paganism is a form of religion. I think that the term paganism was vilified, and that's basically the way I feel about it. I'm not a pagan, but I've actually checked out a lot of their stuff, and I respect it. I have a lot of respect for what they believe in. So now let me find out exactly where I am now. Shimbutsu Shugo is not a single doctrine, but a collection of practices and beliefs that integrated Shinto kami with Buddhist teachings. Key elements include Hanji Sujaku. This doctrine posits that Shinto kami are manifestation of Buddhist deities. According to Hanji Sujaku, the original ground, which is Hanji, refers to the Buddhist deity, while the manifest traces, Sunjuku or Sujiku, are the kami. For example, Amaterasu, the Shinto sun goddess, when seen as a manifestation of Dainichi Nyorai, the cosmic Buddha. Then Hachiman, a Shinto deity of war, was associated with Amitabha Buddha. Now, Shinto shrines and Buddhist temples often shared rituals and spaces. Priests performed both Shinto and Buddhist ceremonies, and festivals incorporated elements of both traditions. Buddhist temples frequently housed kami statues in Shinto shrines. displayed Buddhist sutras or relics. This blending of imagery symbolized the interconnectedness of the two systems. Shimbutsu Shugo gave rise to institutions like the Jingu-ji shrine temples, where Shinto and Buddhist worship coexisted. Monks often served as shrine caretakers, and rituals were conducted for both kami and Buddhists. The syncretism began to formalize during the Nara period. Buddhist temples were often built near Shinto shrines. The rituals sought to harmonize kami with Buddhist teachings. For example, Todaji or Jai temple in Nara enshrined both Buddhist and Shinto elements, symbolizing the fusion of the two traditions. During the Heian period, the Hanji Sujaki theory gained prominence. Buddhist monks began interpreting kami as local manifestations of universal Buddhist principles. This integration allowed Buddhism to gain widespread acceptance while preserving Shinto traditions. The rise of Pure Land and Zen Buddhism further influenced Shimbutsu Shugo. Temples and shrines continued to blend practices, and syncretic deities like Hachiman Daibosatsu, a combination of Hachiman and Buddhist Bodhisattva, Bodhisattva became popular. So after that, I want to move on. Okay, Shimbutsu Shugo reached its peak during the Muromachi period. The distinction between Shinto and Buddhist became increasingly blurred, and shared festivals and rituals flourished. Hachiman, originally a Shinto deity, became one of the most prominent syncretic figures, revered as the protector of warriors. He was also identified with Buddhist bodhisattvas, symbolizing the martial and spiritual dimensions of Japanese cultures. Located in Nara, Kasuga Shrine and Kafuka-ji Temple exemplify the coexistence of Shinto and Buddhist practices. The shrine honors kami associated with the Fujiwara clan, while the temple enshrines Buddhist deities. The Kamanu shrines in the Kii Peninsula became find out real quick. It sounds like that might be the case. Oh man. Hit refresh on YouTube. I hate when I do stuff like that. Yeah. That's what it sounds like. No, it's actually working, so we've got that straightened out. I had to turn the mic on, so that was the issue. I don't quite know exactly what's going on. I'm gonna hope that everything is going fine. I just want to get this straight. Okay, so that sounds good. Yeah, there we go. Check out. Alright, so we've got it all set up and going on. I apologize. I just wanted to make sure everything was organized and ready to go before I continue. Now, the Kumano shrines in the Key Peninsula became pilgrimage centers for both Shinto and Buddhist devotees. The shrines honored kami associated with natural landscapes, interpreted as manifestations of Buddhist principles. The Meiji restoration in 1868 marked a turning point for Shibutsu Shugo. The government sought to modernize Japan by separating Shinto from Buddhist, promoting Shinto as the state religion. This led to the Shimbutsu Burnry Edict, which forcibly divided shrines and temples, the destruction of Buddhist artifacts in Shinto shrines, and vice versa, the persecution also of Buddhist monks, and the suppression of Socratic practices. Despite these efforts, elements of Shimbutsu Shugo persist in Japanese culture. Many modern festivals, rituals, and religious sites retain traces of the Socratic tradition. And that's kind of where I was getting at with Japan started going into this phase where they wanted to modernize and be sophisticated, and that's probably why they adapted Buddhism too, is because they noticed that they had the culture and the art and the sophistication, so they went with it, and it blended Shinto into it. And then right there, they persecuted people who worship Shinto. But like I said, most of the time, if you're over there, you can catch people who still practice it. It still goes on. So, with that, I wanted to also get into Anika, or Anika, however you spell it, Anika. Now, Anika, Anicca, also spelled Anika, or Aniccha, or Anitya, Anitya, in Sanskrit, is a foundational concept in Buddhist philosophy. It is one of the three marks of existence, Tilakkhana, alongside dukkha, suffering, and anatta, non-self. Anicca emphasizes the transient nature of all things, asserting that nothing in the universe is permanent. This understanding is central to Buddhist teaching and has profound implications for the way individuals perceive life, reality, and the path to enlightenment. The term Anicca is derived from the Pali word a, which is not, and Nika, which is permanent. Thus it translates to not permanent or impermanence. In Sanskrit, the equivalent term is anitya, which carries the same meaning. Anika applies to all conditioned phenomena, including physical objects, emotions, thoughts, and even states of being. It posits that everything is in a constant state of flux, arising and passing away, moment by moment. Buddhism teaches that all material things are subject to change. Mountains erode, rivers shift their course, and even stars burn out. This constant transformation is a fundamental characteristic of existence. The human mind is equally transient. Emotions, thoughts, and perceptions are fleeing, arising and dissolving rapidly. This instability highlights the futility of clinging to mental states or seeking permanence in the intangible. Anicca is closely tied to the concept of dependent origination, paticca samuppada, which explains that all phenomena arises due to specific due to specific causes and conditions. Which explains that all phenomena arises due to specific causes or conditions. When these causes and conditions change, the phenomena also changes, reinforcing the principle of impermanence. The recognition of impermanence can be unsettling, but it is also a key to liberation in Buddhism. It encourages individuals to confront the transient nature of life and cultivate detachment from worldly attachments. Anicca explains why relationships, possessions, and even life itself are impermanent. This understanding helps individuals navigate loss and change with greater equanimity. Suffering, which is dukkha, often arises from resistance to impermanence. By accepting anicca, individuals can reduce their suffering as they learn to let go of the futile desire for permanence. While impermanence can bring loss, it also enables growth and renewal. Anicca underscores the potential for transformation, reminding us that negative experiences are not eternal and that positive change is always possible. Meditative practices such as vipassana, insight meditation, focuses on observing the impermanent nature of sensations, thoughts, and emotions. By directly experiencing anicca, practitioners develop detachment and mindfulness. Anicca is a cornerstone of mindfulness practices. Observing the constant arising and passing of phenomena fosters a deeper awareness of the present moment. Understanding and accepting anicca is essential for progressing on the Buddhist path. It helps dissolve attachment and delusions, paving the way for insight and eventual liberation, which is nirvana. The principle of impermanence has applications beyond Buddhist practices. It can shape how individuals approach challenges, relationships, and personal growth. Anicca teaches resilience in the face of change, recognizing that difficult times are temporary can provide comfort and motivation to persevere. By embracing impermanence, individuals can cultivate gratitude and mindfulness, savoring the beauty of fleeting moments. Understanding anicca encourages detachment from material possessions and unhealthy relationships, fostering inner peace. Buddhist texts often use the metaphor of a river to illustrate anicca. A river appears constant, but it is continually changing as new water flows through it. Similarly, life is as continuous. No, is a continuous. Similarly, life is a continuous process of change. Another common analogy is the flame of a candle. Though it seems steady, the flame is in constant flux as it consumes wax and oxygen. This symbolizes the ephemeral nature of existence. Sorry about that. In Theravada traditions, anicca is emphasized in meditative practices and teaches on the Four Noble Truths. It is central to understanding suffering and the path of liberation. The distinction between the Four Noble Truths and the Five Noble Truths in various Buddhist traditions stems from differences in interpretation. Now, hold on a minute. There's some mistakes I had to make in here on the writing. Yeah, okay. The distinction between the Four Noble Truths and the Five Noble Truths in various Buddhist traditions stems from differences in interpretation. Doctrine emphasizes doctrinal emphasis in religion and regional or sectarian development within Buddhists over time. Let's break this down to understand the nuances. The Four Noble Truths are universally recognized as the core teachings of the Buddha, encapsulating his insight into the nature of suffering and the path of liberation. These truths are Dukkha, the truth of suffering. All existence involves suffering or dissatisfaction. Then you have Samudaya, the truth of the origin of suffering. Suffering arises from craving or attachment. Then you have Nirodha, the truth of the cessation of suffering. Liberation is possible by overcoming craving. And notice that this is talking about craving. It's mentioned it twice. And attachment. And you have Magga, the truth of the path to the cessation of suffering. The Eightfold Path leads to liberation. These truths from the foundation of early Buddhist teaching found in the Pali Canon, particularly in the Dhammacakkappavattayana Sutta. That's the best you're going to get from me. The Buddha's first sermon, basically. Now, in some Buddhist schools or practices, an additional truth is introduced, leading to the concept of the Five Noble Truths. The fifth truth varies depending on the context and tradition, but often serves to expand or emphasize certain aspects of the original teachings. Here are two common interpretations. Some Mahayana schools interpret the fifth truth as a broader acknowledgement of ultimate reality, or shunyata, emptiness. This truth emphasizes that all phenomena are devoid or emphasizes that all phenomena are devoid of intrinsic existence. complementing the understanding of suffering and liberation from the deeper ontological insight. Another interpretation adds the truth of pratityasamutpada, that's the dependent origination, and that as the fifth truth. That is, as the fifth truth. So, this emphasizes the interconnected nature of all phenomena, explaining how suffering and liberation are not isolated events, but part of a complex web of causes and conditions. Early Buddhism focused on the practical teachings of liberation encapsulated by the Four Noble Truths. Later, Mahayana and Vajrayana, I've always had a hard time saying that one, Vajrayana traditions expanded these teachings to incorporate more metaphysical and philosophical dimensions, leading to the addition of the fifth truth. As Buddhism spread across Asia, it encountered diverse cultures and philosophies which influenced its interpretation and practice. Some traditions sought to integrate local beliefs or emphasize certain doctrine points, resulting in variations like the Five Noble Truths. Different schools of Buddhism often emphasize particular aspects of particular aspects of the Dharma. For instance, Theravada focuses on the Four Noble Truths as the complete and sufficient teaching, while some Mahayana interpretations expand on these to include additional truths or principles. The addition of a fifth truth can also serve as a teaching method, helping practitioners grasp the broader implications of the Buddha's teachings in relation to their specific practices or philosophical outlooks. The distinction between the Four and Five Noble Truths reflects the diversity within Buddhism and the adaptability of its teachings to different contexts. While the Four Noble Truths remain the cornerstone of all Buddhist traditions, the introduction of the fifth truth in some practices highlights the dynamics and evolving nature of Buddhist thought, accommodating deeper exploration of reality and interconnectedness. Both approaches ultimately aim to guide practitioners towards the cessation of suffering and the realization of liberation. Mahayana schools expand on anicca by integrating it with the concept of sunyata, emptiness. They teach that all phenomena lack inherent existence and are impermanent. Zen emphasizes direct experience of impermanence through mindfulness and meditation. Its teachings often use poetry and koans to highlight the transient beauty of life. The concept of anicca is influenced literature, art, and philosophy worldwide. In Japanese cultures, it aligns with the aesthetic principle of wabi-sabi, which finds beauty in imperfection and transience. Anicca also resonates with existentialist philosophy, which explores the impermanence of human existence. Now, wabi-sabi, I believe I have that too. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to have to go and check in my documents file, because I've got a whole lot of documents. Trust me, everybody loves to talk to me about my documents. So let me come in here real quick. I believe I've got them. I'm not going to say I do. No, I don't think I do. Wabi-sabi is also another interesting conversation. If you ever have a chance to check that out, I would recommend actually doing that, because it is some pretty good reading right there. Yeah, I don't have it. That sucks. Now, after that though, I do want to go to another topic. I want to go to another topic after this, but I do want to finish this up. I wanted to talk about wabi sabi, but I'll go ahead and switch, not do that. Now, Anika, the Buddhist principle of impermanence, offers profound insights into the nature of existence. By understanding and embracing Anika, individuals can cultivate resilience, mindfulness, and inner peace. It challenges us to let go of attachments, appreciate the present moment, and embrace the inevitability of change. Now, these are tools that you can use if you want to, as a lot of clown world believers like to say, escaping samsara. This is how you do it. Okay, that's it. These are the practices that you have to practice in order to escape samsara, if that's possible, as a Buddhist. Just saying. But anyhow, after that, I want to go and I want to start talking about Sagaki. Now, that is after talking about Anika, which is a positive thing that you can do for yourself. Okay, but now we want to go and start talking about Sagaki. Sagaki, or the feeding of the hungry ghost, is a Buddhist ritual performed to alleviate the suffering of wandering spirits, or gaki. These spirits, often depicted in Buddhist lore as being tormented by insatiable hunger and thirst, are thought to be the souls of those who died in a state of great attachment, greed, or unresolved anguish. The ritual serves both as a compassionate offering to these spirits, and as a reminder to the living about the consequences of excessive desire and neglect of spiritual well-being. Now, the concept of hungry ghosts, or pretas, originates in early Indian Buddhism and is closely associated with karmic consequences. According to the Buddhist cosmology, the Preta realm is one of the 6 realms of existence, a state where beings suffer due to their overwhelming craving and inability to satiate their desires. Sagaki was introduced in Japan during the Heian period between 798 and 1185 as part of the broader Buddhist practice of ancestor veneration. Over time, it became integrated into the annual Oban festival, which honors the spirits of ancestors and ensures their well-being in the afterlife. Sagaki, however, specifically addresses spirits that have no family to care for them, those forgotten or neglected, and aims to guide them towards peace and enlightenment. Performing Sagaki requires meticulous preparation, as the ritual's success depends on creating an environment conducive to spiritual communication and compassion. Key elements include Sagaki is typically performed in temples, although it can also be conducted in homes or outdoor spaces. The chosen locations should be tranquil and free from distraction to allow participants to focus on the ritual's intent. The altar is central to the Sagaki ritual and is arranged with offerings to attract and appease these spirits. Items commonly placed on the altar includes rice, vegetables, and fruits, and they are the primary offerings as they symbolize nourishment. These are often served in small portions to represent humility and sharing. A bowl of pure water is essential, symbolizing purification and quenching of thirst. Lit incense sticks are placed on the altar to create a fragrant atmosphere and serve as a medium for prayers to reach the spirits. Candles provide light, guiding the spirit towards the altar and symbolizing enlightenment. The ritual involves both monks and lay people. Monks lead the prayers and chants, while lay participants offer their thoughts and prayers to the spirits. Participants are encouraged to approach the ritual with sincerity and compassion. The Sagaki ritual is performed with precision, following a structured sequence of events designed to honor and assist the spirits. The ceremony begins with the invocation of the Buddha and Bodhisattvas. Monks chant sutras such as the Heart Sutra or the Amida Sutra to create a sacred space and invite the presence of enlightened beings. The chants also serve to calm the participants and set a meditative tone. The spirits of the hungry ghosts are symbolically invited to the ceremony. This step often involves the recitation of specific mantras or dharanas, such as the dharani of compassionate, Avalokiteshvara, which calls forth all suffering beings to partake in the offering. Yeah, and there was no way I was going to be able to get that word, so I apologize. That was horrible. Let's move on. Now, the food and water placed on the altar are ceremonially offered to the spirits. Monks or participants may chant the gate mantra or similar verses to dedicate the offerings. The act of offering is accompanied by gestures of humility, such as bowing or clasping hands in prayer. To ensure that the offerings are spiritually acceptable, monks perform a purification ritual. This may involve sprinkling holy water or waving a purifying implement, such as a willow branch, over the altar. The food and water are then blessed, transforming them into sacred sustenance for the spirits. The heart of the Sagaki ritual lies in the prayers of for the liberation of the spirits. Monks chant powerful sutras such as the Lotus Sutra to guide the spirits toward enlightenment. Participants are encouraged to visualize the spirits finding peace and freedom from their torments. And I also want to mention too that later on I'd like to do the Lotus Sutra. Now that's a big reading, but that's something that I'd someday would like to get into. that actually is a pretty good topic to discuss, but one day I'll do it, not now. So once the offerings have been made and the prayers recited, the spirits are respectfully sent away. This step often involves the recitation of closing mantras and the extinguishing of the candles on the altar. The spirits are guided back to their realm, now imbued with the blessings and compassion of the ritual. Their ceremony concludes with the dedication of merit. Participants transfer the spiritual merit generated by the ritual to the spirits, wishing them peace and liberation. Every aspect of the Sagaki ritual carries profound symbolism, reflecting Buddhist teachings and values. The offerings of food and water symbolizes the alleviation of suffering and the fulfillment of basic needs. In Buddhist thought, the act of giving represents the antidote to greed and attachment. Incense represents the transience of the life and the continuity of prayers, while candles symbolizes the light of wisdom, dispelling the darkness of ignorance. The chants and sutras recited during Sagaki serve both a spiritual and didactic purpose. They do not guide the spirits, they not only guide the spirits, but also remind the living of the importance of compassion and mindfulness. So with that done, I want to finally go through Prita and read that and let you guys check that out and see what you think about it. Now, I'll go ahead and I am going to check everything, make sure it's working again. We do have 3 people in a YouTube chat. Thank you guys for showing up. And we've got 4 people in Rumble. Thank you. We had an infomercial in Kick Chat. Thank you, infomercial. We love you. And nobody left any comments. Thank you. We love you. Alright, so with that being done, I am moving on to the best part. This is like the best. This is where people go to die and have miserable, horrible experiences. Yeah, this is the cool stuff. So the Preta realm, one of the 6 realms of existence in Buddhist cosmology, is a dimension defined by insatiable hunger, unquenchable thirst, and profound suffering. Now, we are there. This is where it is. It's a symbolic meaning that we're going to get into. Now, in Buddhism, existence is cyclic, or cyclical, however you want to say it, comprising 6 realms, or locusts, into which beings are born depending on their karma. These realms are the Deva realm, which is gods, the Asura realm, which is demigods, and the human realm. Then you have the animal realm. Then you have the Preta realm, which is hungry ghosts. And then you have the Naraka realm, which is hell. The Preta realm lies just above the Naraka realm in terms of suffering and is often depicted as a purgatory-like state. It is a place where beings endure the consequences of excessive greed, attachment, and selfishness from their past lives. The Preta realm is characterized by desolation and deprivation. Its inhabitants, known as Pretas, are hungry ghosts and are plagued by constant hunger and thirst, yet unable to find sustenance. They wander endlessly through barren landscapes, their desire perpetually unfulfilled. Pretas are often depicted with grotesque features, emaciated bodies, swollen bellies, thick necks, and hollow eyes. These exaggerated physical traits symbolize their unfulfilled cravings and karmic punishment. Their thin necks prevent them from consuming even the smallest morsel of food, while their distended stomachs represents their insatiable appetites. The Buddhist texts classify Pretas into several categories based on the nature of their suffering. Certain Pretas wander endlessly, seeking food and water. Even when they find sustenance, it turns to ash, fire, or filth upon consumption, such as scorching heat, freezing cold, or relentless winds. Some Pretas are bound to specific objects, places, or people from their past lives. They linger near the material possessions or loved ones they were overly attached to, unable to let go. Certain Pretas suffer not from physical hunger, but from psychological torment, reliving the emotions of greed, envy, or regret that led them to this realm. The Preta realm is vividly portrayed in Buddhist mandalas, scrolls, and temple murals. These depictions often include emaciated figures clawing at the earth or reaching out for food surrounded by desolate landscapes. The Mahavastu and other Buddhist scriptures describes the Preta realm in detail, outlining the karmic causes that lead to rebirth as a Preta. The texts emphasize the importance of ethical conduct and selflessness to avoid such a fate. In Buddhism, karma, action and its consequences, is the driving force behind rebirth into the Preta realm. Actions rooted in greed, hoarding, and exploitation create the condition for such an existence. Pretas are not inherently evil. They are beings suffering the consequences of their past actions and can eventually move on to other realms through the accumulation of positive karma. Many Buddhist traditions include rituals to alleviate the suffering of Pretas. One such ritual is Sagaki, feeding the hungry ghosts, and that's what I was just discussing. Practiced in Japan and other East Asian cultures, offerings of food, water, and incense are made to help satiate the Pretas and guide them towards liberation. The Ulambana festival, celebrated in Mahayana Buddhist cultures, is another significant event where offerings are made to relieve the suffering of ancestors and Pretas. This festival, rooted in the story of Madhgalayana, a disciple of the Buddha, highlights the importance of the filial piety and compassion, highlights the importance of filial piety and compassion. The concept of hungry ghost is not unique in Buddhism. Similar beliefs exist in other cultures. In Chinese folklore, the Hungry Ghost Festival honors spirits with unfulfilled desires. In Hinduism, the concept of preta also refers to restless spirits wandering the earth due to improper funeral rites. The Preta realm is often used as a psychological metaphor in contemporary discussions, symbolizing states of addiction, compulsion, and unfulfilled desires in the human mind. So that is where I'm wanting to end all this, because I really love the fact that I was able to get through the Hungry Ghost and get it finished. And yeah, I guess I was obsessed with the Hungry Ghost. Jaffe, he mentioned that the other night. And there's a reason why. It's because this is something that is really, really cool when it comes to the paranormal, especially in the Orient, the Asian areas. This is really, really good content. There's a lot of paranormal activity when it comes to Japan too. I still haven't had a chance to cover the Air Force Base that they had over there. I think that would be something to really go back and look at and go over. Yeah, but I'm so sick of Japan right now. I hate saying it, but that's probably the best and only way that I can say it. So I'm cool with that. Yeah, I'm fine with it. We actually got an hour and 15 minutes for recording time. The stream actually took an hour and 44 minutes on YouTube, and I believe I've also done longer on the other ones too, but I don't get the timing. Yeah, an hour and 41 minutes on Rumble, as well as I don't know about the time. Yeah, an hour and 42 minutes on Kick. I hope you guys did enjoy this. I do want to go through more when it comes to this topic, though, because there's a lot of good stuff. And like I said, I want to visit the spooky areas on Japan too. But like I said in the beginning when I started the Japan thing, this isn't like the top 10 scariest places in Japan. This is strange stories. So I just decided, what the heck, put this stuff out here. I thought it was pretty good because we started out with the Suicide Forest. We went into Mount Fuji. We started talking about another mountain that was involved in a lot of the lore and stuff that's around here. We discussed dishes in the Woman in the Well. I thought that was pretty cool. I was actually debating if I wanted to do that because that's more lore than it is anything else. But then I was like, hold on, why not? Because it's a strange story. So I went ahead and added that in. The whole thing about the Kappa is interesting by itself because that actually changed over time. It went from being a very, very bad spirit to a spirit that people actually started giving offerings to and things of that nature. He became more of a good guy, so I thought that was interesting how that change took place on there. And then like today, I wanted to go back over the Hungry Ghost and get to that, and later on I'll come back to it. But there's other things that I do want to get more involved in that I need to get into. So I hope you guys enjoyed, like I said, and that, I might be able to go ahead and end this show. So let me make sure that I'm doing this correctly before I do it. Now, here we go. Let me get rid of that background. Oh wait, I know what I need to do. I need to stop sharing. There we go. Alright, so I finally got that taken care of, and I hope you guys enjoyed. It looks like everything went through fine. It looks good, so let's I like that mountain. That was pretty cool. For me, I thought it kind of filled in the spot there. So with that, I am going to end the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you later.